Hey there, it's Lara here with Witchy Wednesday for the week of December 20th to 27th, 2017. So, I mentioned last week that a lot of stuff is going on this last little bit of December, and I'm going to talk to you more about that today. And but before I do, I just wanted to say that I hope you have a very happy holiday no matter what it is that you celebrate at this time of year, whether it be, Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or solstice or Yule or whatever it is, or, just some downtime, whatever it is that you celebrate or that you do at this time of year, I wish you well, and I hope that you enjoy it. So, at this time of year, right, we are celebrating many different holidays, but really they all sort of stem from the same notion, which is a celebration of light. And so the winter solstice is happening around the 21st, 22nd, depending on which area of the world that you live in. And this is the longest night of the year and the official beginning of winter. Where I live, I can't believe we're only just beginning winter now. We've had snow for quite some time, but technically it's the beginning of winter, and it marks a return of the light, because from this point forward, the days start getting a little bit longer, right, in the Northern Hemisphere. So, and so traditionally, our ancestors celebrated the sun, and that morphed into all kinds of different holidays, depending on your religion or your belief system, including Christmas, and which, I'm not going to get into all the technicalities and the details and the history, but is really about a celebration of the sun as well. And some people may choose to see that as the sun meaning, son of God, if you believe that. But in pagan traditions, it was a celebration of the return of the light and the sun god. And so a lot of things are happening that are really quite powerful this particular solstice. So the sky has a lot to say to us. Every year at this time, right, on the solstice, the sun moves into the sign of Capricorn. That marks the beginning. That marks the solstice. So happy birthday to any Capricorn sun signs out there. I happen to know a few myself. And so that's one thing that's happening. The sun is moving into the sign of Capricorn. We've also just had a quite a powerful new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, which was, as I mentioned in last week's Witchy Wednesday, it was right on what we call the galactic center, a powerful point in the sort of the center of the universe, really, the birthplace of the universe. And actually, if you see the painting behind me here, you can't really see the colors too well probably on video, but that's a painting that I did a while back called the Galactic Center. And so the Galactic Center, again, if you want a little bit more information about that, there are other people who know a lot more about it than I do. And I did speak about it last week in the Witchy Wednesday video then. So I'm not going to recover that ground. But the new moon, as all new moons are, is a time of intention setting, right? Setting in your intentions for what you want to manifest in this next cycle. And so it was quite potent because of where it fell in the sky. And aside from that, so I mentioned the sun's moving into Capricorn. There is a lot of activity going on with Saturn. And I also spoke about Saturn a little bit last week, but I'm going to talk a lot more about Saturn right now, because Saturn is sort of the star of the show right now. And really, what we need to pay attention to, I think, right now. So what's happening is Saturn is about to shift into the sign of Capricorn, which is its home sign. Saturn rules, we say in astrology, rules the sign of Capricorn. So they're very closely connected. They have similar qualities. And Saturn, there's a lot about Saturn in mythology, but essentially Saturn is the god of time. He is Saturn in Roman mythology and known as Kronos in Greek mythology. So the god of time, he governs things like wealth and, is associated with structure, responsibility, that kind of thing. And also the god of plenty and the god of sowing, meaning you reap what you sow, right? And that's really what Saturn is all about, and a lot of what I want to talk about here. And you're going to see when I show you the card that came out of the deck for us today. It's just like I laugh every time because it's just so appropriate. But I'll get to that after I talk a little bit more about the astrology, because really it's quite important. So it's the winter solstice, sun's going into Capricorn, Saturn's moving into Capricorn, and Capricorn Saturn is meeting up in the sky with the sun. So conjuncting, they're coming together. This is really quite powerful, right? And in light of this new moon that we've had in Sagittarius, we're sort of being called to really now start taking responsibility for our dreams, right? Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, is all about dreaming big, the vision, big plans. But Capricorn and Saturn in Capricorn and the sun conjunct Saturn in Capricorn is saying, okay, you can have all the big plans in the world, but if you don't do anything about them, nothing's going to happen. So Saturn's going to be in Capricorn for the next about 2.5 to 3 years. And this is going to be a time when we need to step up to the plate in terms of, what we really want from life, what we really, want to bring to the world, who we really are, and shining that light, right? The sun, shining that light, shining our light. And Saturn really requires us to be responsible with our gifts, and it requires us to do the work. So, if you're feeling like there's sort of obstacles in your way, you've got big plans, but they're just not coming to fruition. Well, there's a few things. First of all, Mercury has been retrograde, so it's making us feel a little bit stalled, and that's okay. That's what this time is for, right? We're being asked to revisit things and review things and take a step back. But it is about to go direct on the 22nd as well. So all of these things are happening right over the next couple of days. So that will feel a little bit better in terms of being able to move forward. But then we have Saturn squaring Jupiter, right? So it's sort of a conversation of tension that's happening between those two planets. And this is going to maybe feel a little bit like, your plans are being stalled. Like, I've got these big plans, but, there's obstacles getting in the way. And that's okay. Because what's happening is Saturn saying, okay, it's time to put your money where your mouth is. It's time to do the work. And this is really what we're being asked to do. And, Saturn often by astrologers is seen as, it's called a malefic, which means that it can, be a bit of a hard ass. And the thing is that is true. But if you are doing the work, and if you are in integrity and in alignment, then you will reap the rewards, right? Whereas if you are, just thinking that things are just going to fall into your lap, or if you've been, maybe unscrupulous or not doing the work, if you've been acting in some, with some lack of integrity, then you're going to feel that. Saturn's going to say, no, 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 that's not the way it works, right? And so you're going to have to adjust and start following, the law of Saturn, so to speak. And but the good news is, if you're willing to do the work, then you will reap the rewards, right? And as I mentioned in last week's reading too, where you will feel, Saturn's presence in your life depends entirely on where Saturn is moving through your particular birth chart. And I'm going to take this minute to say I am super excited that in the new year, I'm going to start offering natal chart readings, birth chart readings. And so, you can book a reading with me, and I will look at your own personal birth chart, and I will, sort of give you an idea of, your soul's path and what you came here to do, and, where you might be feeling obstacles and ways through those obstacles, all of that kind of thing. So look for that in the new year. But each of us will be feeling the effects of Saturn, or the impact of Saturn, in a different area of our life, wherever Capricorn falls for you personally in your natal chart. So enough with the technicalities there. I'm just going to take a look at my notes to see if there's anything that I have missed talking to you about here. I think that's pretty much it. The general message in terms of the astrology is that it's really, this is a really awesome time to manifest what you want, but you have to put in the work. So all those plans and dreams and hopes and wishes that you've been conjuring up, the last few years, it's time to take action and really be responsible about who you are presenting yourself as in the world. Who are you? And to build the foundation, that solid foundation for your future. So I'm going to get to the card now, because it really ties into everything, as always. The card that turned up for us today from the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck is the Sun card, but it came up in reverse. And so this is so appropriate. The Sun card indicates that, the light at the end of the tunnel, that it's a new birth, and we're right in that time of year. Like, this is such an appropriate card for the solstice and for, the celebration of light and Christmas and all of those things. It's really indicating a new birth, a new start, and really shining our light. But the fact that it came up in reverse is that message from Saturn, right? It's like, you need to take responsibility for shining your light. It's not just going to happen, right? It's not just going to fall out of the sky. There's no taking the easy way out here. And so you can have those hopes and wishes and dreams and a new fresh start. And there's a major light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to be clear about what it is, that you want to birth, and then you have to do the work. That's just the way it is. So I'm going to leave the message there for this week. And again, I just want to say, I hope that you have a really lovely holiday season. And, you know, one of the great things to do at this time of year around the solstice, my own family does this, and we've done it for the last few years now. Um, Sometimes it's around New Year's, but over this next couple of weeks of the holidays, is to jot down some things that you would like to leave behind, things that you want to let go of, and jot those down on some scraps of paper. And then, have a little ritual where you throw them in the fire. And you can also do this. And that is sort of a clearing away of those things. And you can also do this with new hopes and wishes and intentions for the new year, for the new cycle, for the solstice, where you can write down some things that you are some intentions. And you really need to do what feels right to you here. But again, you could put them in the fire as sort of an offering up to the sky, that you're putting your intentions out there. Some people like to bury them in the earth. So you're sort of planting those intentions literally, or in, even a potted plant or something if you can't dig in the earth. Or you could just put them in a special place, like on a little sort of altar that you have, or a special place that you like to keep things. You could put those intentions there. We also, in my house, kids included, we also choose a card as some guidance and a message for the year. And before we do that, we usually look back on what those cards were the previous year and how those have played out over the course of the year. So, if you have an oracle deck of any kind, you might consider doing that. They're easy to come by. You can get them just about anywhere these days, in bookstores, or, mystical stores, stores that sell crystals and that kind of thing. So I'll just leave you with that little ritual if you're interested in trying that for yourself. And I will see you again next week on December 27th. And we'll talk a little bit about, the new year and that kind of thing. All right. So take care, everybody. And just remember, you can make those dreams come true. You just have to do the work. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas. Happy solstice. Happy Yule. All of those things. Bye-bye.